Now we'll check for understanding. What is the main topic of this read aloud? And what did the author want to explain in this story? You should have came up with the main topic was Martin Luther King Jr.'s role in the civil rights movement and the non-violent way he fought for civil rights. Remember, violence is dealing with fighting and different things. So if he was non-violent, that means he did not use violence. He did not fight with his hands. The author wanted to explain why Martin is considered the leader of the civil rights movement. What were some of the ways Martin Luther King Jr. worked for civil rights? Yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. protested, marched, and spoke about civil rights. He also allowed himself to go to jail for demonstrating peacefully. What did Martin do after Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat? Yes, Martin organized the Montgomery bus boycott. That means everyone decided not to ride the bus is when you boycott something. You're not going to buy it or you're not going to ride or use that service. Did Martin believe in fighting peacefully for equal rights? Or did he believe in using force or violence? That's right, Martin believed in peaceful protests. What are some adjectives that you can use to describe Martin Luther King Jr.? Remember, adjectives describe a noun, and right now we're describing a proper noun because Martin Luther King Jr., we would capitalize his name. So you might call him fair, peace loving, hardworking. How would you explain to your family or friends the meaning of the words from Martin's I Have a Dream speech? You might say to them, Dr. King wanted people to be judged by their character, not by the color of their skin. Do you think Martin's dream of people being judged by the content of their character rather than by the color of their skin has come true? Why or why not? This is an opinion statement, so you would give your opinion on why you believe maybe it has come true or maybe it hasn't. What word are we going to talk about? Extraordinary. In the read aloud today, in the read aloud you heard, on this day we remember this extraordinary man for all that he achieved. Say the word extraordinary with me. The word extraordinary means that someone or something is incredible or out of the ordinary. The first moon landing was an extraordinary moment in history. In what ways would you say that Martin Luther King Jr. was an extraordinary man? Try to use the word extraordinary when you tell about it. If you're having trouble, you might say Martin Luther King Jr. was extraordinary because, and then you would tell what he did that was extraordinary or why. So, what's the word we've been talking about? Extraordinary, that is correct. So, the word extraordinary means that someone or something is incredible or out of the ordinary. The word extraordinary is also a compound word. That means there are two words put together to make one. So, what words do you think make the word extraordinary? If you said extra and ordinary, you are correct. The word extra means something additional or something that's been added on. And then the word ordinary means something that is regular or that's not unusual in any other way. So when these two words are combined, they form or create a new word with a new meaning. And that new word is extraordinary. When we write compound words, remember we write them as one word. Although it's two words, when they come together, they're one word. Let's connect. So, on our timeline of fighting for a cause, remember we had Abraham Lincoln and Susan B. Anthony who fought for women's rights, Eleanor Roosevelt who fought for human rights and civil rights. We had Mary McLeod Bethune who had an African American school for girls who also taught African American men how to read so that they would be able to vote. We had Jackie Robinson, who fought for civil rights for athletes. And then we had Rosa Parks, who stood up for her civil rights on the bus. Who do you think we're adding to our timeline? Martin Luther King Jr., that is correct. So remember, describe the cause for which Martin Luther King Jr. fought and how his work helped everyone have access to more equal rights. Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech after Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on the bus. Where do you think his card should go on our timeline? Right next to Rosa Parks, because his speech was given after she refused to give up her spot on the bus. Writing a free verse poem. What type of poetry did you write in the previous lesson? Free verse. Which parts of free verse poem can relate or tell the poet's opinion? You can use your words, phrases, or by the rhythm in which you speak your poem. So you're going to write a free verse poem in which you express an opinion about Martin Luther King Jr.'s achievements. Remember, we discussed the four-step process involved in writing the free verse poem in the last lesson. So you will work using your bubble sheet. And you're going to you completed your bubble sheet. Now you're going to complete your free verse poem to write about the accomplishments of Martin Luther King Jr. So you will write his name on the top line. And then you will start your poem. So remember, if I was writing a poem about Rosa Parks, I could start with Rosa Parks sat on the bus. She didn't want to make a fuss. Rosa Parks had a seat that she was sitting in, nice and neat. Someone wanted Rosa Parks' seat, and she refused to give up that seat. Rosa Parks was arrested. And what else do you think should have been suggested? So that was my poem on Rosa Parks. So her accomplishment was not giving up her seat for someone else on the bus. So you write your poem dealing with Martin Luther King Jr. and some of the things he was fighting for, the way he fought with nonviolence, and he also wanted civil rights for all to be treated equally. When you're finished with your lesson, you will move on to reading quietly at your desk or working and already reading if you finish early. Make sure you have written at least 3 lines on your poem. That is the end of this lesson.